everybody, and welcome to Nerdy 430, the podcast where comedian Tim Keck and I talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer, and today we are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. You've been asking for it. You've been begging for it. One of you showed up outside Tim's house, holding a sign at his window like it's fucking Good Morning America. You're screaming, do No Way Home. We didn't get your No Way Home takes. Why haven't we given you No Way Home takes? Because we didn't want to spoil it for you. We wanted to give ample time. I think this is going up one full month after the movie.
This is a good spin, Kevin.
You know what? No spoiler alert on this one. These aren't spoilers anymore. 2022, the gloves are off. You had your chance. If you didn't go see this movie and get Omicron, you are not an MCU fan.
Did this movie cause Omicron? Were so many people packed in theaters that it caused a super spreader event? Is Tom Holland's beautiful smile and Zendaya's winning personality the reason why our country is plagued right now with Omicron?
Dude, Tom Holland has blood on his hands. I honestly, I thought about that earlier today. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's drawing a line, but the numbers are going up, Tim. Numbers are going up.
And so is that box office, baby. So is that box office. You told me right before we recorded this movie's doing better than the Avengers did. Is that true?
Yes. News broke today that it is so far edging out. It's already the third highest grossing film of all time already. As of like 5 days ago.
In like, not the middle, but like, this happened right before a pandemic, like really fired up again. It's not on HBO, dude. This is, you gotta buy a ticket to see this thing, you know? You gotta go, you gotta sit inside next to somebody coughing into his popcorn. You gotta risk it all for Toby, for Andrew.
Dude, Tom Holland saw Scarlett Johansson taking a pay cut for that Black Widow home release, and he said, not on my watch.
Sony executives across the board said, we need this. We need this more than anything. This is all we have. It's going to be this and Morbius next year, or Morpheus, or whatever the fuck their vampire spinoff is called.
Dude, Tom Holland is the biggest British problem that America has faced since taxation without representation.
Okay, we dumped tea into a harbor to solve that problem. What are we going to dump in the harbor this time, Kevin?
I'll tell you what. A giant copper Captain America shield on which Tom Holland and Willem Dafoe fight for their lives. Let's dig into it, man. It's been out for a while.
Let's do it.
First off, what did you think?
I loved it. I had a great time watching it. You know, I watched this in Satellite Beach, Florida, with my dad in, I'm going to say, a lightly attended theater. And I was really bummed about that because it's just because I think we saw it on like a Sunday or maybe like during the day on a Monday when I was like off of work. I'm really bummed I didn't see this in like a prime time, like New York, Brooklyn super spreader event showing and like really get all the good reactions. Cause I was in my seat like, whoa, and like clapping and like by myself. I was like, it was kind of a real bummer that I wasn't in a more active theater, but it was like blowing my mind like constantly. It was exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I needed. It met every expectation I had. It was great. I want one of those t-shirts, Kevin. This could be one of our merch ideas. You know, those like t-shirts that like name the Beatles and it's just like, you know, Ringo, whatever, George. And can we just do like a Tom, Andrew, oh my God, Toby shirt? Like, that's what I want. Just the three names with the Ann Sampran or whatever.
Toby. I love it. I'm there for it.
I'm here for it. I liked all of them. I think Andrew came out a fucking star. I was excited to see Toby again. It was a sad movie. I got emotional during parts of it. It was just, it crushed, man. I get it. People love it. What'd you think, Kevin?
Thought it was wonderful. Got to tell you, we had complete opposite theater going experiences.
I'm so jealous.
Because your theater was quiet. Ours, I love a big explosive, New York City movie theater. When we saw Endgame together, thrilling.
Yes.
When we saw Age of Ultron together back in 2014, same theater for all of these, thrilling. I was actually in the same room that we saw Age of Ultron in for No Way Home, and it was fucking miserable, Tim.
What?
I went with Lauren and a great friend of the show, Spencer Pazer. And the two girls behind us were so fucking obnoxious, man. It was insane. It was like, it hit a certain point where it was like, okay, either they are currently streaming this on Twitch, and that is why they are screaming like they're on a roller coaster for 90 seconds at a time, anytime anybody says any line, or they took some kind of a party drug before this, because it's not, nobody in their right mind would be reacting like this. Everybody was furious around us. It was awful. We ended up seeing it again on like the 27th, just because we wanted to hear the movie this time. I mean, this movie is so good that it barely managed to squeak past how miserable those two women made this experience.
Damn. Whoever you two women are, and I know you know who you are, and I know you're listening to this podcast. Fuck you. That's from Kevin. From me, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, you saw it in the crowded theater. What were like the biggest pops when you were watching this thing? Because that's the thing I was missing, was like, what were the moments where people lost their minds while watching this movie? Because I had a few.
The appearance of Daredevil was massive.
Yes.
People went nuts. And the brick catch, people really loved too. Which is just a terrific moment in this movie. I would say
Wait, I'm going to stop you right there.
Andrew showed up.
Yeah. Daredevil, obviously being pulled in from the Netflix series Daredevil. Could that Daredevil catch a brick like that?
No. And you know what? This is exactly what we just talked about with Kingpin on our Hawkeye episode. Everybody got a power boost when they came into the MCU.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm telling you, man, it's like Goku training on the gravity planet.
Netflix is the gravity planet. And then they get to the MCU and it's the big time. Because I was like, that was a manly cat. Dude. Like Spider-Man is right there. Like he beat Spider-Man to it. I'm like, this guy is crazy. If this is the Daredevil we're getting, I love it.
Can you imagine how powerful Cloak and Dagger would be if they brought them in from Freeform? That's like training at the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
See, I'm worried if you go from Freeform to the MCU, you're going to be like one of those fish you find at the bottom of the ocean that can't survive once you pull it up, and they just kind of implode on their own. You know?
Yeah, they only exist at the higher pressure.
They're blind. They can't see anything because there's no light where they live. They like throw up their intestines once they get near the surface, you know? That kind of thing.
Oh my God. Yeah, they'd get the bends for sure.
But that stood out to me for sure. It's like, holy crap, Daredevil's here and he looks good. I can't wait for him. I'm so happy for Charlie Cox. He deserves it.
Me too. Shout out Charlie Cox. You earned this, man.
Yes, he did.
Incredible. Next biggest pop after that was probably, people went nuts for that I'm something of a scientist myself.
Fair.
Pretty big one.
That's the meme. That's meme Andrew culture Garfield. That's doing that, you know? It's all the meme kids.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's a Reddit. That's everybody that has that pop in the theater. That's your Reddit users. Then Andrew's arrival, but specifically Tobey's arrival. Like when Andrew showed up, it was like probably a sustained 90 seconds. We couldn't hear a lot. Yeah, pretty much until he was cleaning the cobweb out, we couldn't hear a single fucking word.
So was that,
when Tobey shows up,
was that surprising to you? Because, you know, I'm pretty trailer free and I was like, you know, I don't want to know anything about this. I 100% knew those two were showing up in the movie. So that was something I was really curious if we were going to get an audience response, but I don't know how you don't know that they're going to be in this movie. It didn't floor me the way I've seen people like compare this to like, you know, Captain America picking up Thor's hammer. And it's just not the same for me. It's like we 100% knew we were going to get these two guys in it. It's cool that they showed up. I'm excited they're here, but I wasn't like blown out of my chairs just by seeing them show up, you know?
The hammer thing was completely unexpected.
Right.
Like the way they played that moment was also perfect. The only thing in this movie that even came close to that, in my opinion, I think it was a bigger pop when Tobey showed up than it was for Thor's hammer when we saw that. But the only thing that I think really deserves to come close to that was when Andrew catches MJ. I mean, what a moment. Holy shit. I'm sobbing.
That's when I jumped out of my chair. I was losing my mind at that. That was my thief. We're jumping ahead to thieves. That him catching MJ, I was emotional for that. Tobey catching the glider. I was emotional for that too, but that's the Thor's hammer moment, you know. Those guys showing up doesn't do it for me, but those like full circle moments with them, I was like, man, I'm getting emotional thinking about it now. It's just so powerful. I mean, we spent with Endgame was emotional, and we'd spent a decade with those characters. We've spent like 2 decades with Spider-Man. When did Spider-Man 1 come out? I don't even know.
2001.
2001. We've spent
2002.
We've spent 20 years with Spider-Man, twice as long as we've spent with the MCU. That's why people are losing their minds over this. This is like worlds colliding. I mean, Toby and each one of these guys, they're all great. I want to get into who your favorite Spider-Man was in a little bit, but
wait, one quick thing, because you mentioned how much longer we've had the Toby movies than the MCU. Do you want to hear a fact that I found out recently that's going to blow your fucking mind?
I would love to get my mind blown.
Spider-Man 3 comes out 2007. Huge disappointment to fans everywhere. 363 days later, Iron Man comes out. That does not feel like those were that close.
No, it does not. It does not at all. No, it does not. That's shocking to me. I'm shocked that is that close.
I mean, it's like it's night and day. Like, it's a completely different approach, and it helps me gain perspective for when I saw the first Iron Man movie in high school. We'd never seen anything like it. We were completely gassed up on this thing. Like,
yeah,
it was nuts.
I feel like I remember the Christopher Nolan Batman movie coming out like the same year as Iron Man or around Iron Man. Those are the two that I associate.
Yep. Dark Knight.
But thinking of Spider-Man 3 in the same year or two as those movies is kind of insane. It's kind of insane to think about because I do not put them in the same category. Do you want to talk Spider-Man?
Absolutely.
Do you have a favorite Spider-Man? Who was your favorite Spider-Man? I think if I'm going like based on what I felt at the time, I remember thinking Tobey Maguire was the perfect Spider-Man. When that movie came out, it was Tobey is fucking perfect. He is Peter Parker. And then when Andrew Garfield's movies came out, I was like, his Spider-Man is better, but Tobey is still the OG Peter Parker. And Tom Holland, I just like it all. Like it feels like the best of both worlds, you know, where I'm just like, they get the Spider-Man. His Peter Parker is great. It's a slightly different take. He's stuck in high school. So I kind of want to say Tom Holland is the best, but I mean, I don't know if they come out with another one, I'm going to say that person's probably the best for something too, right? Like based on my track record. What do you think, Kevin?
I think you nailed it. It's like Tom Holland has balanced stats where like Toby has like jacked up Peter Parker stats and Andrew has like jacked up Spider-Man stats. And then Tom Holland's like right down the middle.
Yeah.
For my money, my favorite I've ever seen on screen is still Jake Johnson in Spider-Verse. Like that version of Peter Parker is incredible to me. He has the sense of humor nailed so well in a way that we've never seen from anybody else. Live action, got to give it to Andrew. Like, I think his Spider-Man overall, he's funny. He was like his Spider-Man was funny and cocky in a way that kind of nails that shift between Peter and Spider-Man. The problem is that his Peter was also cocky and kind of a dick. But this new evolution of him, where he's this emotionally damaged Spider-Man, I'm so all in for this. Loved him so much. This approach to the character from this movie and beyond challenges my love for Jake Johnson's because it's just, oh man, I can't get enough of it.
Andrew coming out of this movie, I want to see another Andrew Spider-Man. It's clear that Tobey Maguire doesn't really have it in him. You know, God bless him for showing up for this one. But I mean, he's an older guy now. It wouldn't be as convincing. I'm not sure he's really interested in doing it, but Andrew Garfield, man, I bet he would. And he's great. He's so good at that.
Do you think he would? Because dude, he's like an actor. Like he's a very high caliber actor. Do you think he would come back for a third one?
I just watched Tick, Tick, Boom. I loved that. I thought he was good in it. I bet he would. I mean, I think he really liked being Spider-Man. I think all the Spider-Man actors, well, I guess I don't really know about Toby, but I think Andrew Garfield really liked being Spider-Man. I think he was really proud of it. And I think nowadays it's cool for like really good actors to be involved in this stuff, you know, like he doesn't lose any credit by doing this, you know, especially with the fan response. Like there's theories out there that he is in the same universe as Venom and now Morpheus, that he could be potentially like the Sony Spider-Man. And I hate to say it, after being let down for a second time by Venom, I'm ready to be let down a third time. Give me Spider-Man. Give me Venom. Let's see what happens, dude.
Tim,
Let's
he's
throw
no
them
good
together.
for you. You can do better.
I don't care. I can fix him.
You need to leave him.
I can fix him.
You can't.
He's nice to me. When you're not around, he's so nice to me, man. He treats me right.
Oh my God,
he
dude.
takes care of me. He respects me. That's what's the most important thing.
You got 2 drinks in you and you started texting him.
I'm ready. Bring it back. Andrew. God, it'd be great.
I feel like this is a good transition into the money well spent that I prepared for this one. Okay. Tom Holland made between $4 and $7 million for this movie, but also he gets a cut of the box office. So he's probably going to walk off very well from this.
Yeah.
So 4 to 7 for Tom Holland. Toby and Andrew reportedly made $1 million each. Money well spent?
Yes. If you're Sony or Marvel, $1 million a pop for each of those guys is nothing. That's nothing.
I mean, it's such a no-brainer. It's 0.5% of the budget of the movie. Like, fuck yes, do that. Apparently Benedict Cumberbatch got the same. He got like 1 million. Robert Downey Jr. had 8 minutes of screen time in Spider-Man Homecoming, made 10 million for that appearance.
Robert Downey Jr. is the outlier, I think, looking at all these contracts where he's just making big money regardless. Like I don't know if maybe correctly feel they need Robert Downey Jr. to make the whole MCU work. And at the time, maybe there was some merit to that. Clearly now they're showing that they don't need him around to do that. But Toby and Andrew make this movie, you know, they deserve the big bucks for this. And, you know, I'm also not sure it was the hardest meal either of them has made. so the risk reward for them is great. Like, I mean, they made out like bandits. I think everybody's happy in this situation. Maybe not Marvel because they have to deal with Sony and Sony's bullshit, but
true.
Otherwise.
But after the amount of money this movie's made, like Sony has to be like, we cannot kill this cash cow. We have to like keep working with them on this because clearly it's working. Budget wise, I think this is extremely funny. Alfred Molina for this movie, Dr. Octopus, was apparently paid $350,000. Pretty small, but you know, he's not as high a caliber actor. J.B. Smoove, who plays Julius Dell of The High School, made $450,000.
For
I'm
2
pretty
minutes?
sure he had one line.
That's insane. That's insane.
How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know.
He's good. I love JB Smoove.
He's got a good agent.
More than Alfred Molina?
I bet it has something to do with being signed on for the series, right? Like he's a recurring character. I bet he signed a contract. I bet he gets paid what he gets paid, regardless of whether or not they're using him. They always talk about these. I saw something about Tom Holland's contract, how his contract includes another appearance. And from then they're looking at getting him another contract for solo movies. It sounds like potentially they're working on another trilogy, but right now he has another obligation of like an appearance fee. So then they like, I'm sure that fee's already been done before, you know. I'm sure Cumberbatch is bigger than $1 million too. I mean, comparing him to this stuff, but I think all these guys, if you're not Robert Downey Jr., you take a pay cut when you're visiting somebody else's house. So,
yeah,
I mean, money well spent. Why not? JB Smoove, get in here, dude. I'm glad you're getting your cash. I'm glad you're getting your money. You're a real one. So good for you, dude.
Hell yeah. Shout out JB Smoove.
Yeah.
You earned this, man.
Speaking of Doctor Strange, I want to talk about the mess thing that I was theorizing about before we even saw this. When I saw the trailer, I was personally already upset and annoyed about the idea that this whole movie, the whole catalyst of this movie, is Doctor Strange messing up a spell. How dumb is that? Like looking at the it's like if Doctor Strange doesn't mess up, none of this happens. Everything's fine. But watching the movie and thinking about it more, Spider-Man makes this molehill into a mountain, you know? Doctor Strange messes up the spell. Doctor Strange unleashes some variants or whatever into their timeline. Doctor Strange doesn't really care. It's not that big a deal. Doctor Strange is like, you can take care of this for me. I got better things to do. This is so unimportant and inconsequential. You take care of it. I'll zap him back. And Spider-Man does. He catches them pretty easily. He defeats the bad guys. He catches them. He brings them home. Doctor Strange is like, cool, snap, we'll get rid of them. And that could have been the whole movie. But then Peter Parker doing Peter Parker stuff, Spider-Man doing Spider-Man stuff, needs to make this way more complicated, way more difficult than it needs to be. And so I'd love your take on this. I felt like the Doctor Strangeness of this was fine and was acceptable. And it was weird, but ultimately I felt like everything that happened to Mary Jane's death, Aunt May's death, were a result of Spider-Man or Peter Parker's actions, not a result of Doctor Strange.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good storytelling. Everything that happens results from choices that the protagonist makes. And it's great to see. I think that's the reason that this movie, I expected it based on the trailers to be so much like bigger. Like I expected it to be on this like insane, epic, globe-trotting scale. Like we got in Infinity War and Endgame, just because of the scope of the shit they were showing in the trailers. And then when we sat down to watch this movie, it's like, it's so small. It's so much smaller than I expected it to be, but it works so well. And they do such a good job of like exploring the depth of who Peter's character is. And I got to tell you, as far as like the choices and stuff being made, I think this is by far the best like Aunt May characterization we've ever seen, just because in her tiny amount of screen time, Marisa Tomei pulls off a very convincing thing of like convincing Peter, like, is this the best thing for them or is this the best thing for you? Like, even though you didn't make this mess, it is still your responsibility to clean it up because you have that ability. It's a great display of with great power comes great responsibility. And man, I mean, they just fucking nail it.
Yeah, I think my biggest beef of the movie, and maybe the beef of the movie, is you're talking about Aunt May dies to save the Green Goblin's life. And, you know, on paper, that seems like a dumb situation. It seems like an obvious fuck up. But when you're in the moment, it doesn't feel crazy. And when you're looking at things through Peter's perspective, it makes sense. It's a direct line. Him feeling like he needs to save everyone. He can't kill anybody. He has to do the right thing, regardless of how messy and complicated it is. That's Peter Parker to a T. That's Spider-Man to a T. Nothing is easy for him. It's why he's such a lovable character and why people like him so much. He's always worrying about something. He's worrying about his aunt. He's worrying about his girlfriend, his relationship. He's worrying about paying his bills. He's worrying about his job. He's fighting crime and has to maintain a job at the Daily Planet. And he's not even in the comics, he's not even the one who gets the best pictures of Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. He knows where he's going to be. He sets up the camera and somebody else gets better pictures of Spider-Man than he does. He has so many problems and things to worry about. And then it's great. It's just, this is, even the flaws in this movie, I feel like exactly what the character is. And I just really appreciated it. You know, all of that.
Dude, I just read issue number 83 of the current run of Amazing Spider-Man, the issue that just came out. And in it, there's a really great Uncle Ben moment where it's like a flashback to Peter's childhood. And Uncle Ben is teaching Peter, like, look, oftentimes when you do the right thing, you don't get rewarded. In fact, most of the time you get punished for it. And that is such a great distillation of Peter's fucking life. He's doing the right thing and he's getting punished for it.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah. The ending of this movie sets him up to be like just the ideal on-screen Spider-Man. I really hope they keep it very like traditional. I really hope we get at least one like very Spider-Man movie in the classical sense.
So do you really think this movie sets him up for success in another movie? Because it's strange that it is taking away a lot of the responsibilities he has, right? He doesn't have to worry about Aunt May. He doesn't have to worry about his friends. He's starting over. So now, I guess instead of the conflict being an external thing and him needing to save people, then the conflict is really like an internal struggle of him being lonely and him. I get he's pretty much doing what Andrew Garfield was saying he was doing, right? Where he's just like, I haven't had any time for Peter Parker stuff. I've just been Spider-Man. And this movie ends with Tom Holland really not doing any Peter Parker stuff. He's just going all in on Spider-Man. You know, he's given up on the things that make Peter Parker for the benefit of those people. Right. So I don't know. It's weird. It would be very cool, man, if there was a way for them to pull off this Andrew Garfield thing and Tom Holland like at the same time, where we go see a Venom movie where Andrew Garfield is like, you know, not pulling his punches and Tom Holland is like simultaneously in the MCU, like looking out for himself and like kind of on his own. And we see what that looks like and just seeing those parallel lines at the same time. I mean, they could do some really cool stuff here, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, how lucky can I get?
I don't know. My only other take that I wanted to get out for this pod was the Miles Morales take, which I love Miles Morales as a character. I think he's the best. I think people want to see him like ASAP in the MCU, like in the live action. And I want to wait. I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently, and I'm okay with waiting. I'm just throwing that out there. He's in Spider-Verse. I love Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse might be the best Spider-Man thing there is. It's so good. I love that he's there. But the second Miles Morales shows up in the MCU, we're just saying goodbye to Tom Holland, you know, and I'm not ready to do that yet. I want Tom Holland. I don't think they can coexist for more than a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever. If we get another trilogy, which I think will happen, we're going to get a Tom Holland trilogy. That third one, we introduce Miles Morales. Boom. And then we go from there. That's what I want. Gone. But I'm trying to enjoy, I'm savoring my time with Tom. All right. Let's not rush into the next big thing. Let's not do another crossover thing. You know, if we can get Andrew, that's great. But, you know, I'm just hoping we get some more Tom Holland movies now.
I think you're right. I'm definitely in the camp where I'm very impatient to see Miles. But I also understand that like the age that they have Tom Holland at, it doesn't work super well because Miles has to be at least in high school and they're just so close in age. I think the upcoming PS5 sequel, Spider-Man 2, is going to be the closest that we've seen Peter and Miles in age, because Miles is like, in that one, he's like getting ready for college, right? He graduated from, I'm pretty sure he's getting ready for college in that one, where he's currently in college.
In what? The video game?
Peter is like 23. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't played the new video game. Oh, I guess I played the PS4 one, and I think he was like a high school kid. And Peter Parker was a grown up. And then Peter Parker's an adult. I want to say he's like in his 30s.
No, Peter in that one in the game is like 23. So it's definitely the closest.
He's 23 in the PS4 game?
Uh-huh.
No way. Wow.
Yeah, look it up.
Geez, well, that's crazy. It's crazy they're that close. I mean, maybe they could be that close. Maybe, but they need a way to write off Tom Holland. You know, it's either he dies or, you know, he retires or something happens. I mean, he needs to do something. He could leave the city to Miles Morales. I mean, there's something there. There's so much story there, but it's also, I don't feel like Tom Holland's character is like ready to mentor somebody yet. He's got to like do his own thing. So
yeah,
I want Miles. I mean, I'm so excited for Miles Morales. He's such a good character. He's one of the few like successors to a superhero that I think really, really works and is legitimately almost as good as the original hero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bishop Hawkeye's one of them. X-23 is one of them for me too, where I'm just like, oh, these are like really good characters on their own, independent of their like clear lineage. But you know, this also solidified to me that Tom Holland is a great actor. I want as much Holland as I can get.
Yeah, I think we need at least one more Holland solo movie. I think, in my opinion, you introduced Miles in the back half, maybe as a tease at the end of, I guess, Tom's 5th Spider-Man movie. And then maybe the 6th one is he's been mentoring Miles for a little bit and then he dies at the end.
Could be cool.
That's my pitch.
Could be cool. I think Marvel, it's a good pitch.
Get at me. I know you're listening.
Yeah. We need that trilogy to hand it off. Anything else you want to hit on, Kev, before we wrap it up?
I think my only beef in this movie is that the way they introduce Andrew and Toby at the same time is like kind of lazy. That he just does the same trick twice. It feels a little convenient, but they had to get him in there somewhere. And at the end of the day, I'm so happy about Ned having magic powers. That was done again beautifully. We talked about the hammer with Endgame. That like joke in the beginning where he's like, yeah, you know, my family. And then Doctor Strange's like, yeah, you should see a doctor. So funny. He actually pulls out the sling ring. He gets the head nod at the end of the movie. The cape floats him down. Oh, shit. And he doesn't remember any of it.
That's so sad. That's so sad. And neither does Doctor Strange. I was like, Doctor Strange will mentor him or whatever, and he doesn't remember any of it. You know, I've definitely heard some theories online that Ned's like the next villain, you know, like that. If we get another Tom Holland trilogy, like we're going to get a mask reveal on a villain and it's going to be Ned who just, you know, something got messed up. I love that idea. I think that's great, even though I also think Ned could be doing other stuff. To the magic point, I feel like the other critique I've seen was maybe Ned using the sling ring so easily after we saw a whole movie in Doctor Strange where he's like struggling to master it and there's whole groups of people struggling to master it. And I got to tell you, again, with the Doctor Strange stuff, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with Ned being good at the sling ring because it's
in his blood.
It's in his blood, which sure, that's like some magic bullshit that people just, you know, throw out all the time. It's magic. Magic is weird. But I also think that the intent with which Stephen Strange and Ned pursued this magic was very different. Doctor Strange was and still is an asshole. He was an asshole when he was looking for magic. He was trying to fix selfish problems. I mean, he was a jerk and he had selfish, you know, self-indulgent uses for this magic. His means weren't amicable. And Ned is like as pure of heart as they come. And he just wants to help his friends and his family. And he's just so giving and like, his intent is like greater than himself. So the idea of magic responding to that intent, I think makes a ton of sense. Even if they don't go into that, as far as like my headcanon, the idea that Ned is being selfless in his pursuit of this magic, you know, justifies his ability to use it. And he isn't even great at it yet. He can't close the portal. He does have problems with it, whatever.
Yes. That helps a ton.
I do really like the idea. I do like that they introduced Toby and Andrew at the same time. I think it's a good idea not to leave either one just hanging out by themselves for a while. I like I think it's a lot to put on somebody, you know, maybe just to have Andrew around for a while. Then it's like a bigger reveal for Toby. I like them just ripping the Band-Aid off, being like, you guys all know it's coming. Here we are. We're interact. It gives them more time to interact. Like that was some of the best stuff in the movie was Andrew talking to Toby, you know, and like these guys haven't ever been on screen together as Spider-Man. They're not a part of the MCU. They're just showing up, having their own little conversation about back pain and like, you know, finding love and losing MJ in their relationships. And those are some of the best moments, honestly. Like that's the real fan service that I wanted. So,
oh man,
yeah, I don't know.
I want to watch it again.
I want to watch this again tomorrow. I'm so bummed it's not. Why isn't this on HBO? This needs to get on Disney Plus stat. You know, get Black Widow out of there. Bring in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Just drop it from the service.
Just drop it from the service. It's taking up a spot, apparently. Whatever you got to do. I don't know how we speed this up. Speed it up. Get it in there, man. I'm ready to roll.
Oh my God, that's true. I heard to put Black Panther on the service, they had to take off Lady and the Tramp.
And that was a devastating blow for us tramp heads out there. I had my spaghetti bowl waiting for my lady to come watch it with me. It was
oh my God.
And then we ended up watching Black Panther and having a great time. So it was good.
Just the idea that they had to drop Dumbo to make way for Guardians of the Galaxy too.
I like the idea. It's like my Google Drive where there's like only so much room. They've got like 10 megabytes on like the Disney Plus platform. And they're like, well, we made this great documentary about rescuing people trapped in a underwater mine. What are we going to try? Can we drop Bambi in order to get rid of this? Aladdin? Does Aladdin have a spot here?
What if we downscale it to 480p? That would probably save some room, right? Give us back a gig or two.
Oh my God. We can drop Steamboat Willie for pretty much anything. No, who's watching those? Who's watching the old black and white Disney stuff?
Oh man.
I'm not. Kevin, any final thoughts?
No, loved this. Super good. If you haven't seen it yet, sorry for the spoilers.
If you haven't seen it yet, you probably didn't get this far, or you shouldn't have gotten this far. You should get in your car. You should drive to the theater. You should wear a mask, get tested after, or you know what? Just risk Omicron. It's not that big a deal. That's something Kevin keeps telling me. COVID really.
Oh my God,
I mean,
don't you fucking.
It's a government
you're doing
hoax.
it again.
This isn't a problem.
Don't you put this on me.
You know, physical wellness and elk meat, I think, is all you need. That's what Aaron Rodgers told me. Joe Rogan told him. So then I think we're fine.
Well,
on that note,
thanks for listening, everybody. Get vaccinated and stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy, get vaccinated. Bye.
Bye.